SNS institution, a multidisciplinary global institution, and the first institution to implement design thinking curriculum in education. Our institution works based on a holistic 5-group building centers. The 5 pillars are Center for Learning and Teaching, Skill and Career Development, Center for Creativity, Industry Institute Partnership Cell, and Social Responsibility Initiative.
Hello everyone. Myself Vickram. I am currently pursuing Bachelor of Physiotherapy in Muscular Physiotherapy. Today we are going to discuss about an era of artificial intelligence and data science in Duchenne muscular dystrophy and what is Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Duchenne muscular dystrophy, it is an inherited disorder of progressive muscular weakness, typically in boys. It is affected by both boys and girls, but typically in boys. It is caused by a genetic mutation in one of the mother's X chromosome, and researchers have identified some of the affected genes also causes the Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Duchenne muscular dystrophy is caused by a genetic problem in producing dystrophin, a protein that protects the muscle fiber from breaking down when exposed to another enzymes. Let's move on to the next slide. The facts of Duchenne muscular dystrophy. DMD is nothing. DMD is the short form of Duchenne muscular dystrophy. DMD affects mostly males at a rate of 1 in 3,500 births. It is characterized by wasting away of muscles. It is most aggressive form of muscular dystrophy, and it is the common form of muscular dystrophy also. Diagnosing in boys usually between the ages between the 16 to 18 years. Parents are usually the first noticed problem. Death form of DMD usually occurs at 30 years, but nowadays it can be done in 20 years or 25 years. Then clinical features of GMD. Female carries the DMD gene on the X chromosomes. In the 23 pair of chromosomes, male of 23 pair of chromosomes and female of 23 pair of chromosomes. Yes, we all know that. In the 23 pair of chromosomes, 22 pair of chromosomes are autosomes and 23 pair of chromosomes are sex chromosomes. In that, one pair of sex chromosome, female carries sex and X and male carries sex and Y. We all know that. In that, female carries the DMD gene on the X chromosomes. Female are sons who inherit the mutation will have the diseases. Daughter that inherit the mutation will be carries. The DMD gene is located in the XP21 band of the X chromosome. Mutation which affect the DMD genes are 96% of the freshman's mutations, 33% of the new mutations, 10 to 20% of the new mutations occurs in the gametocyte. What is gametocyte? Now, gametocyte is the sex cell will be passed on to the next generation. Okay. The most common mutation are repeats of the CAG nucleotides. Let's move on to the next slide. Genotype of DNA. During the translocation process, a mutation occurs. Mutation lead to the absence of dystrophin. Very large deletions lead to absence of dystrophin. Mutation causes regarding errors causes a degraded, low functioning of DMD protein molecule. The causes are stop mutations, splicing mutations, splitting mutations, duplications, deletion, point mutation. This is the genotype of DMD. Next, clinical features of phenotype of DMD. Learning difficulties in 5% of patients, speech problems in 3% of patients, leg and cough pains, which is more common in DMD. Next, mental development is impaired, IQ usually below the 75 points, memory problems and carrying out daily functions, thus are the common problems in the DMD. And delays in early childhood stages involving muscles use. 42% of patients delays in standing alone, walking alone, and sitting alone. This is the yearly stage of DMD symptoms. Then we move on to the how we can identify the DMD patients. The affected DMD patients increase in serum creatinine phosphokinase levels up to 10 times normal amount. Okay. Wheelchair bound by 2 years of age, cardiomyopathy at 14 to 18 years. Few patients live behind 30 years of age. This is the most rare, 30 years. Before 20 to 25 years, the DMD patients will not die. Then molecular makeup. There are 17 exons which make 0.6 of their entire gene. Genome DNA is 2:2 million base pairs. Introns make up to 99.4% of the entire gene. There are 8 promoters, are actually the binding sites. rod domain contains 24 proteins that repeat the maintained molecular structure. It is the thought to give the rod its flexibility. The cytosine-rich domain regulates ADM protease, which are cell membrane anchors that are important in maintaining the cell shape and structures. Next, in the next slide, I think you can able to read this. DMD gene and dystrophic function. Without the structural support, or the cell membrane becomes permeable. As components from outside the cell are allowed to enter, the internal pressure of the cell increase until the cell bursts or dies. It can't be done. Under normal wear, under tear stem cells within the muscle regenerate new muscle cells and repair the damage. In DMD, the damage to muscle cell is so extreme that the supply of stem cell are exhausted and repair care no longer occur. The DMD gene encodes for the proteins dystrophin found in muscle cells and some neurons. Dystrophin provides strength to muscle cells by linking the internal cytoskeleton to the surface membrane. This is the DMD gene and dystrophin function. This you can view the 3D image of the actin binding site of dystrophin. This is the actual 3D image of actin binding site of dystrophin. Now we see that what is Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Then what are the methods or what are the techniques we have to use to diagnose the Duchenne muscular dystrophy, the DMD. The diagnosing of dystrophy is suspected based upon the characteristic as well as age and sex, presence of symptoms and signs of metabolic process. Increased serum creatine kinase values. I said that the affected patients will have creatine kinase level more than 10 amount than the normal person. A positive family history suggesting X-linked recessive inheritance. This is the thing we can use for diagnosis. In one upon the method, the common method is genetic analysis. The genetic analysis is those who are affected from the DMD. Those who are affected from the DMD also have the high level of creatine kinase in their blood. Okay, high level of creatine kinase. By seeing that the testing of creatine kinase level, the DMD will diagnose. Molecular genetic testing is indicated for the patients with an elevated serum, CK level and clinical findings suggestion for a dystrophinopathy. Deletion of one or more exons of DMD gene, duplication of one or more exons of DMD gene, small insertion, deletion or point mutation or spacing of mutation of DMD gene. These are the things what we done in a genetic analysis to find DMD. Next the thing is electropathy, electromyography. Nilil electromyography. Electromyography, this means what? Electromyography is a diagnosing procedure or technique to assess the health of muscle and the nerves that controls it. This is the thing, electromyography or electromyography. In that needed electromyography, short duration and low amplitude polyphosphate motor unit potentials in proximal muscles. Over time, some of these becomes electrically silent. Okay, this is the thing. This is a technique we can use for DMD to find or diagnose it. And another thing is molecular genetic testing. Multiplex polymerase chain reaction covering 18 exons at the deletion hotspots detected 90 to 98% of all deletions. If MLPA testing is negative, the DMD gene can be tested for point mutation. Multiplex ligation depending probe amplification has provided a more sensitive technique for detecting deletions. Okay. Then the common thing, muscle MRI. The muscle MRI is the usually not formed to diagnose in a DMD, but the scientists and the doctors believe that it may be used to find or diagnose DMD, the Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Muscle MRI is usually not performed in DMD for diagnosis. Before I said that, but maybe it be useful non-invasive tool to evaluate progress of muscle involvement over time. These are things of diagnosis. In the physiotherapy field, we discussed about the diagnostic method and what is diagnosed muscular dystrophy and how to diagnose it and what are the techniques to use to diagnose DMD. But the stages of DMD is of three types. Normally, the affected person in DMD, early stage, they have weakness in muscle and they have fatigue easily. Okay. Then they'll come to the wheelchair. Without wheelchair, they can't able to. I think they can't able to walk or move. So they definitely want wheelchair. So there is a wheel phase or wheelchair phase. Then it goes right. Then it moves to the bed phase. So that's why DMD is not be cured. Not be cured. But the treatments only for pain free. The rest of life they have some severe pains in DMD. So the treatments are for only the pain free, not for cure. The DMD is not cured fully. Okay, there is this thing in the DMD. Next, you can ask, so you said artificial intelligence and data science, an era of artificial intelligence and data science in muscular dystrophy. How can you say so? Yep, I can say, because I said earlier, what I say, it is commonly affected in boys. Even it affects both boys and girls, but it is common in boys. How can I say it? Because the data. Okay, because the patient's data, only I can say it is common affect in boys. So the data will be useful in all medical fields, not only for the DMD. In all medical fields, the data is the most important thing. Then, what is artificial? How artificial intelligence is useful in DMD or the medical fields? The artificial intelligence, I said genetic testing, muscle of MRI, are created by use of genetic engineering or artificial intelligence techniques. Only the diagnosis method be used. Okay. So artificial intelligence and data science is useful for all the medical fields, not only for DMD. In all medical fields are diagnostic methods. Without artificial intelligence and data science, the diagnostic method and data of medical field is not done. Okay. Now we come to the end of the session. I want to thank my principal sir, Dr. K. Rajasandil, and the correspondent ma'am and the technical director sir for giving the wonderful opportunity to meet you. Thank you guys. Bye bye.